dead meat, slime bag! Yo, man, it's cool. It's cool, man. It's cool.
This masked figure is one of the most notorious killers ever. Someone dies by his blade every 6.66 seconds, and what makes him even more terrifying is that he simply cannot be killed because he was so dangerous. The military had to bring out serious firepower and finally managed to take Jason down. Even with his entire body bound, locked up in every kind of restraint they had, the soldiers standing guard were still sweating through their uniforms because the look in his eyes said one thing: he was going to kill every single one of them. A soldier threw a black cloth over Jason's head, but it didn't take long before they ran into a major problem. Jason could not be killed. They tried everything and nothing worked. So for now, they locked him up at Crystal Lake Research Institute while they got the cryogenic chamber ready, freeze him once and for all. But then a government official showed up at the facility. Word had gotten to people in high places about Jason's ability to survive anything, and they decided to put the freezing plan on hold. They wanted him taken to a lab for research instead. The facility director, Rowan, was completely against it. The cryogenic room was almost ready. Freezing him was the only option that made any sense. If he ever got loose, the consequences would be unthinkable. But the government had military backup, and they ignored Rowan's warning entirely. They were going to take Jason by force, but when they pulled the black cloth off his head, they found the soldier who had been standing guard before anyone could figure out what had happened. Jason had already broken free and started attacking. Bullets hit him and did absolutely nothing. One soldier was dead within seconds. The scientist spun around and ran, but Jason never lets anyone get away. He hurled a steel pipe across the room and hit the fleeing scientist dead on. Rowan heard the commotion and came to check. The next second, the door burst open and the military commander came flying out. Rowan barely got a word out before the commander stopped breathing. She turned and looked into the security room. Bodies everywhere, and Jason was already standing right behind her. Rowan grabbed a shotgun off the floor and ran. Her plan was to lead Jason to the cryo chamber and find a way to freeze him there. Jason didn't realize it was a trap. Rowan got behind the door of the underground cryo room, found a spot to hide, and the moment Jason walked in, she stepped out and hit him with the shotgun, catching him completely off guard. She forced him back into the cryopod, ran up and slammed the door shut, then hit the liquid nitrogen switch. An extreme blast of freezing gas came pouring out. Rowan finally let herself breathe, but she had underestimated him. She went to check on the pod, and Jason's blade came through and stabbed her in the stomach. Then the safety system kicked in. The liquid nitrogen leak triggered an automatic lockdown. Nobody in that room was walking out alive. The nitrogen spread and froze everything in sight, and just like that, 400 years passed. Over that time, Earth became less and less livable. The environment had deteriorated to the point where humans couldn't survive there. But science had changed everything in ways nobody could have imagined. Humanity had found other planets to call home and figured out how to travel freely between them. When an expedition team returned to Earth, the long-forgotten Crystal Lake Research Institute was about to pick up right where it left off. The team had come back to Earth looking for anything valuable worth taking. During their search, they found a cryogenic pod that was still running. Out of curiosity, they opened it and found Jason's frozen body inside. Based on how he was positioned, the team figured he had been in the middle of a fight when he was frozen. The android on the team confirmed the body had been preserved for over 400 years. Everyone was excited, just based on how rare this was. They could sell it to a museum and make serious money, but none of them had any idea what they were actually dealing with. They also found Rowan frozen nearby. The android ran a life scan and came back with something even more surprising. Aside from the stab wound in her stomach, Rowan's body functions were still largely intact. With current nanomedical technology, bringing her back would be straightforward. That discovery got the team even more excited. A living piece of history was worth a lot more than a specimen. The android also flagged that the liquid nitrogen in the cryopod was leaking, which meant Rowan's body would start to deteriorate fast. They needed to get back to the ship immediately, right as they were about to leave. One team member accidentally knocked Jason's body over, and his own right hand was severed by Jason's machete on the way down.
55 cc's of F3, you'll be fine.
Fine! I'm missing my arm!
They managed to stop the bleeding with a quick injection and didn't waste another second. They loaded both Rowan and Jason onto the ship. As far as everyone on the team was concerned, this had been an incredibly successful trip. What they didn't know was that the nightmare was only just beginning. Back on the ship, the professor was thrilled about the discovery. He immediately assigned everyone their tasks. First, the team member, who had lost his hand, was laid out on the operating table for reconstruction surgery. Then came Jason, who had been frozen for over 400 years. Scans showed that virtually all of his bodily functions had shut down completely. There was no chance of revival. His only value now was as a museum specimen. Rowan's situation was much better. A small number of her cells were still alive, and with current nano regeneration technology, the dead tissue could be fully repaired, and the machine powered up, and swarms of nanobots quickly spread across Rowan's entire body. The monitor showed them working through her cells one by one. As her body temperature slowly climbed back to normal, Rowan opened her eyes. After 400 years frozen in time, she was back. She looked around at a room full of strangers, completely confused. The professor stepped in quickly to calm her down, told her they had brought her back from Earth and she was safe. Rowan relaxed a little after hearing that, but almost immediately she remembered Jason, the man who had been frozen right alongside her 400 years ago. She asked where he was, not wanting to lose their prize sale. They lied and told her they hadn't brought him. After leaving the lab, the professor went back to his office. He pulled up a video call with his boss and told him everything about finding Jason. His boss had heard of Jason before.
Jason Voorhees. He killed nearly 200 people and simply disappeared without a trace. But to the right buyer, he could be worth a fortune.
Meanwhile, back in the lab, a researcher was examining Jason's body up close. She used a scalpel to separate his face from the mask, but one look was enough. She put the mask straight back, because what was underneath was not something you wanted to see twice. She took a tissue sample from his body and was looking at it under the microscope. When Jason silently sat up from the operating table behind her, by the time she sensed something was wrong and turned around, the table was empty, and the next second Jason had her from behind and hurled her straight into the glass. But the lab was so well soundproofed, nobody outside heard a thing. Jason grabbed her again and shoved her face into a liquid nitrogen tank. The extreme cold flash froze her face instantly. He pulled her out and slammed her down hard, and she shattered into pieces. But the real killing hadn't even started yet.